good coaches understand that we all need good coaching.
Your conscious awareness that we are, sentient human beings and we do have choice.
So that's the advantage of a coach or consultant coming in. They can see those things.
Awareness is this beautiful, peaceful, loving undercurrent.
You should help people tell their stories.
That real human connection has never been any more important.
The work is ongoing.
Hello. I am going to put on the chat overlay so everybody can see each other. Amber, nice to see you. Brian, nice to see you. Hey, Mark. Welcome to Tilted Bench. It's Wednesday. It's noon. It's that time. For those of you who don't already know, this is where we have conversations every week with coaches to talk about coaching, the work, what it's about, what it does, why it works, what's important about it. And I am so happy to have Tara Lafon Gooch with us. Hi, Tara.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me, Nathan.
It's an absolute pleasure. Everybody, listen, as you're coming in, make sure you say hi in the comments so we know you're here. I am going to tell you guys that I got lucky today because Tara joined the pre-live a little bit early. So I had her all to myself for a little while. We got to chit chat. It was almost like a whole other show. I wish I had been recording it. We could repurpose that. Tara, why don't you go ahead, kick us off, tell us a little bit about yourself and about what you do.
Awesome. So, hey, everybody, my name's Tara, and I see a lot of familiar faces here. So, hello, everybody on LinkedIn land. My name is Tara. I just wrote a book about confidence. And it kind of talks about my personal journey of, developing my personal brand, becoming an entrepreneur, and showing up confidently. So I wrote that to help others, but I also am a coach. So I'm a personal branding coach, and I help people go to the next level of success in their lives, amplify their personal brands, and show up how they want to in the eyes of their target audience and land life-changing opportunities. So if I were to explain it to a 6-year-old, which I have a 7-year-old, and just the other day, she asked me exactly what I do. And I said, Mommy makes people feel confident and empowers them to become successful. And she got it. So I hope that helps.
That's good. It's great to be able to tell the kids that like you're doing good stuff, right?
That's right.
That's role modeling at its best.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Well, Tara, tell us, so you have kind of a nice connection between your own background and the type of folks that you're helping now with the work you're doing around coaching on confidence. Can you tell us a little bit about that background, who you work with now, and how it's similar to where you're coming from?
Sure. Yeah. So I came from the corporate world. In 2022, I decided to go into full-time entrepreneurship. So I work with a lot of corporate executive clients, C-suite level folks. So I would say directors and up. Mostly people that I work with are CEOs, presidents, C-suite. And these, folks that I work with, they're generally interested in developing their personal brands, right? So they're interested in showing up online. They're interested in expanding their company brand and their personal brand. But a lot of the times too, there's some confidence issues that come in. And, as I developed my personal brand, I realized that in order for me to really do this, I needed a heck of a lot of confidence, right? Because it's not easy putting yourself out there in the world. And, I started seeing a lot of these type of things come up when I was working with these folks, like imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs, self-doubt, self-sabotage. And I started picking up that it was actually a confidence issue. Why? Because I used to have a confidence issue, so I know what that looks like very well. And I started seeing this as a pattern, and I also started acknowledging that, the higher up you go, the more of these issues are prevalent. And you wouldn't necessarily think that. I think people that are struggling with confidence, they generally think, oh, once I get to this high position, all of it'll go away and I'll just be confident. I've seen actually the actual reverse of that is true. The higher we sometimes go, the more imposter syndrome we have, the more self doubt, because people are thinking, oh, what's going to be expected of me? What if I fail? What if, what if, what if? And then all of these self doubts start perpetuating, and it leads to ultimately self sabotaging behavior, right? Which is a self fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it works for me.
You know what? It works, right? When you self sabotage, it's a self fulfilling prophecy. So.
Tara, do you think that, as you rise in the ranks, kind of as you get more successful professionally, whether you're working in an organization or whether you're an entrepreneur, there's a tendency to like be around more people who are on a similar playing field as you, like they are also very successful. How much do you think comparison plays into that?
Oh, that's huge. Comparison, they say comparison is a thief of joy, but it's also a thief of confidence, right? Because when we compare ourselves to somebody else, it's never going to be enough. We're never going to seem like enough. So I agree. I think that's an epidemic, right? Especially with social media, right? You can look on anybody's profile and say, "Oh gosh, I'm so unworthy compared to this person. This person is doing so much more than I am. I am like nothing compared to this person." But it's all, just a mirage, really. There's no way for me to know if that person's actually happy and fulfilled and living to their purpose and wants to do that thing, or if they're just doing it for show, right? So let's not compare ourselves, especially with social media, because honestly, that person may be very well looking at you and saying, I wish I was more like him or her. So we just never know. I think that is so important. And, there's a lot of people out there. I've talked to people from all over the world. And, there's so many inauthentic kind of uh, things that are happening, buying a fancy car or, showing off or doing these things. And why? Right? It's to make them look more successful. But does that even matter? Right? Does that even move the needle?
Right. There's a difference in, making it look a certain way versus what's actually happening inside. I'm going to pause for a second and I'm going to try and reset the chat because I know I'm seeing some of y'all on LinkedIn, but it's not showing up through Restream. So I'm sorry about that for those of you who are getting lost. Amber, by the way, thanks for the comment on the intro. I was just telling Tara before that this is the first time I've used the new intro and I really love it. Mark, that's down there in the comments, is my old roommate from college. Thanks, Mark. It's good. glad you showed up. So, Tara, you've got this book that you've just put out. It's Grasping Confidence. This is where I'm borrowing the title of the episode is borrowed from your book. Tell us about the book and about how did you end up turning all of this stuff that you've learned, where your own journey is. How'd you end up turning this into a book?
Wow, it was quite a journey. And nobody believes me when I tell this, but it was the weekend after Valentine's Day of this year. So just this year, I sat down on my couch and I told my husband, I just need to get something out of my head. I sat my laptop on a pillow, crossed my legs, and started typing. And 11,000 words later, I decided I had a book. And it was total accident, right? So I just started writing, and the book is about my life journey, my journey through childhood, not feeling confident, what it was like to grow up. Literally, if I were to press the rewind button on my childhood, you wouldn't see any point in time I felt confident. And it's really sad because it held me back for so much of my life, in my career, in school, so much, right? Later in life, I couldn't make the amount of money that really I was capable of making because of confidence, but it started way before that. And it was at the point where I thought I had no skills. I thought I had no value. What is my purpose? I don't think that I have anything to offer anyone. So I was at that depressed point. And that's when I started this whole personal transformation journey, which I talk about in my book. And it's called GRASP Confidence for a reason. GRASP is actually an acronym. And GRASP stands for gratitude for G, responsibility for R, and that's responsibility mindset. A is for action, sight, S is for sight, and P is for purpose. And these are the 5 steps I use to transform my life and to make me confident.
That's awesome. And like, I can't even imagine being able to get 11,000 words out like that. There's this thing I was reading lately about and most of us know this, especially entrepreneurs know this, that there's so much grinding that goes on in private that you don't see. And then when people find success, it often seems sudden from the outside. But this is always the result of a lot of internal work that's slowly been building up. And I mean, in this case, those 11,000 words didn't come out of nowhere. Like, obviously you had, like you told your husband, right? Like, you needed to get it out.
Yeah.
And isn't that a lot of why confidence is so important? Because you have something that you need to get out, right? And that you need to share with people.
Absolutely. And it just clicked for me that I had a formula for it. And I had never heard of anybody having like a formula to follow for it that was an acronym that was easy to recall for people. And I've read tons of books. And the other thing that always bothered me with a lot of success books that I read is gratitude is in there, but it's like kind of buried in the middle or towards the end or just kind of off to the side. And for me, gratitude was the foundation for building confidence, which is why it's the first acronym. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, Nathan. So, gratitude has been shown to rewire our brains. And here's the kicker: if you can rewire your brain, you can form new belief systems. And if you can form new belief systems, you can start to believe that you will be successful, that you will be confident, that you can accomplish a goal. So that gratitude as a foundational element was key, and that's why I put it very first chapter. Actually, the first 3 chapters of my book are dedicated to gratitude. It's that important.
Well, that's phenomenal. I hate it when I hear people say, that, oh, people can't change, people don't change, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, all that kind of stuff. Like, part of reaching for something new is that first belief that you can change on the inside and that you have the ability to reshape your mind, reshape your thoughts. And so often that starts with gratitude, because gratitude is like an antidote to a lot of stuff, right? Like, if you could stop and be grateful, then the self-limiting things, the things that tell you that it's all, doom and gloom, like, you can push some of that out of the way with gratitude.
Yeah. Absolutely. It produces serotonin and dopamine in our brains, so it's also a natural antidepressant too. And the cool thing about gratitude is if you're grateful, you're not thinking and ruminating about past events and your worries from the past and all your mistakes, and you're also not thinking about all the worries of the future. Oh, what if and this and that. With gratitude, it anchors your mindset to a present one. And when your mindset is anchored to a present one, you're a whole lot more capable of putting in action. You're a whole lot more capable of doing other activities that lead you to success. So it's very foundational. And it's not one of these things, okay, I've completed all the steps, I'm done, now I should be confident. This is like, there's some days, and I'll be transparent because I'm a human being, I have to go through the whole method. And I say to myself, okay, this is a hard day. I don't feel like I have anything to be grateful for. Let's find those things, right? So we have to sometimes go through this whole step. But when you do this enough, and I really emphasize in the book that this is a lifestyle change. This is something that it's like working out. Once you start working out, if you want to stay in shape, you've got to keep going, right? You got to keep that momentum. So it is very much a lifestyle change.
When you are, so you coach people like on this stuff also. When you are working with clients and you're trying to, I know you've told me a couple of little stories about this, but you come across these mindsets. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to run into this when you see somebody else and they just don't quite realize that it's a confidence issue. What's that like?
It's almost every single person. So I'll say that, if not every person, right? So every person generally that I work with, at first they say, I don't have a confidence issue. And I'll, say, okay, so what are your goals? All right, we'll start there. And a lot of times they don't even know what they are. Or they know what they are, but they're not going after them. So why aren't we going after these goals? If you have all the tools and resources, why aren't these already achieved? Oh, because of this way. And okay, so we're self-sabotaging. We're creating these limiting beliefs. There's an imposter syndrome. There's something going on. There's a lack of confidence. And a lot of times we self-exclude as well. And this is particularly important among especially executive women, tend to self-exclude. And one of the things that I help women work through is a lot of women during meetings tend to be the note taker. So what's happening during a meeting? They're hunched over, they're taking a note, they're losing power. Their voice isn't being heard, they're not making direct eye contact, they're actually not contributing, and they're being seen as a scribe. The notes stop. So that's just one thing that I help people with. And that's usually that very first session, especially with executive women. We leave the notes somewhere else, right? If you have to leave them at your desk so you don't go to it, that's what we do. And then every single time there is a meeting, no matter what, your voice is heard. Even if you're agreeing with somebody else, make sure your voice is heard. Why is that important? Well, because every time your voice is heard, you gain power. Every time you gain power, you gain confidence. And then eventually you're the one conducting the meeting. This is how it works, right?
You're building a positive feedback loop, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so important. And it's the little things too. It's, 90% of human communication is nonverbal, right? I think people focus on that verbal. What am I going to say? Well, how are you going to present yourself? That's even more important. So working on posture, working on eye contact, what are your hands doing? What are, these kind of things. What space are you taking up? Are you taking up space? Again, be seen, right? Because nobody knows you exist if they don't see you. So be seen, be heard, and create that positive feedback loop so that you understand that this is something that you can achieve too. And actually, you should have probably been doing it for a long time.
Well, a lot of folks don't have the practice with confidence, right? And it's something that you have to practice.
That's right. Absolutely. I think, it's something that we're born with. I've never met a toddler who has fallen and said, this is not for me. Right? Walking is just not for me. Have you met a toddler? I sure haven't. I feel like
no.
I feel like we're born with it. And so many people say that, oh, we're not born confident, but I honestly think that we are. It's life's societal pressures and expectations and perceived failures that kind of, I liken confidence to like a meter. And, gradually that meter kind of goes down with these things. But if it is going down, that means it can go up too. So we also have to make sure we're taking care of ourselves, right? Because you can't pour out of an empty pitcher.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of what coaching work is, right? Is that you have to help people get back in touch with those abilities, those things that they have in themselves. They've just lost it somehow, or they don't even know those questions to ask, right? Like if you have I mean, how often do you have a client where it turns up if it's a confidence issue and they're even a little bit surprised?
Every single time, literally every single time. I just got off the phone with somebody last week, a hugely successful lady. And she told me over the DMs, I don't think I need this because I don't have a confidence issue, but somebody referred me to you. So there's a reason, right? So, as we're talking, and I am literally seeing every single issue as a confidence issue, and how every area of her life, or pick anybody, could be improved by developing confidence. And what I see a lot of times is people are settling too. We settle for relationships, for friendships, but we also can settle in our careers because we don't think that we're deserving of more.
Well, and that's the negative loop, right? If you start believing, and I love that term self-exclude that you used
Yeah.
earlier, and what we're talking about when we talk about that is that you are embracing habits or avoiding actions that keep you in the same spot and that keep you out of the next level, whatever that next level might be.
Yeah.
And often for those things, this is something that goes back to a conversation we had many episodes ago with Brian, who's here in the comments, talking about how part of your job as a coach, right, is to help people see what they can't see. They don't know the questions to ask. And one of the reasons that you're limited is you don't know where you need to go to start unlocking those things.
That's right. Absolutely. I love that. But yeah, it's about asking those hard questions and showing people where they are. I feel like as coaches, this was how it was for me in the beginning. I can see so much potential in people. And as a coach, that's what I see them with their name in lights immediately. Like, oh my gosh, I could just see you on. But a lot of times they don't know where they are right now. So showing people where they are and just guiding them through that journey, and then eventually taking them to where they could be, is really important. But it's really important to show them where they are, ask those powerful questions, and see what responses that you get so that you can understand and give them a prescriptive guide on coaching. Because honestly, this is not a cookie cutter approach. Every single individual is completely different. So it's about having a prescriptive guide, but then taking that person on the journey and showing them how they can reach those goals through those questions that you ask, so that they have that path carved out for them.
I love that. I mean, it is this type of work where there are broad themes, there are broad frameworks that you can follow, and that in many cases you should be following. But that at the end of the day, it's always an individual process, and that there's always a one-on-one element of coaching. Tiffany made this point about how the remote environment has changed things. Communication has altered in a lot of different ways. When you're doing coaching remotely, we've got, like, look at us, here we are. We've got these cameras pointed right at us. You can really see kind of how someone's presenting themselves. In a remote environment, what kind of things do you notice about how confidence comes through or doesn't come through on camera?
Huge, right? And again, that's what kind of got me into helping people with confidence, is because, again, when I started, it was helping people with their personal brands, right? But then they were terrified to post content. They were terrified to show up on video. Why? Because of judgment, right? Because of something else. So again, self-excluding behavior. So they're taking themselves out of the equation. They're not even applying. They're not even putting their name in the hat, right? So showing up on camera is huge. Again, where are your shoulders, right? Are your shoulders down? Are they back? Where's your head position? All of these things, your eye contact, right? I've seen a lot of people take themselves out of not even showing up on camera because of these lack of confidence issues. Or when they do show up on camera, they are not showing up confidently. And again, if 90% of human communication is nonverbal, you're putting off this air of not confident. And what does not confident actually translate to in business? Lack of trust. if you're not confident, people won't trust you. And if people don't trust you, no exchange happens. I promise. You could be the greatest at whatever it is that you're doing, but if you're not confident and presenting yourself confidently, trust doesn't follow. And if trust doesn't follow, I've never been in a business situation where I didn't trust the company and I gave them a penny. Think about that.
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah.
So we have to be able to, especially as entrepreneurs, show up confidently because it's trust. It's everything that you're building, right? It's your brand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I show up on screen and it's obvious to you that I don't think I should be here, why should you think I should be here? Right? Like,
Exactly. But so many people don't quite put that correlation together, right? So confidence is huge. I talked to an angel investor a couple of months ago and I asked him, I said, out of all the companies that you've invested in, what is the number one thing that you look for in a founder? And you know what he said? Confidence.
Hmm.
He said, I have never invested a penny in an unconfident founder. It's
right.
huge.
Because there it is. Yeah. If you've founded it and you don't trust it, why should I trust it?
Exactly. Yep. So it helps with every aspect of your life, from relationships and friendships, to the internal ecosystem of our own minds, to the level of success that we have. It's absolutely key ingredient to success.
Hey, Trevor.
Hey, Trevor. Confident. Trevor is very confident. We've had this conversation with Trevor.
He's incredibly confident. I mean, I love
know.
Trevor. I was just talking about you earlier and how I love seeing you on lives, being on lives with you, and your confidence plays a big role in building this ecosystem. I mean, and it's an ecosystem too, right? Like if you are confident, if you're surrounding yourself with other people that are confident, that plays off of each other and builds on each other.
Absolutely. Yes. So key. The people you surround yourself with, proximity is power. So if you surround yourself with other confident people that are successful, that are driven, right, you're going to also be those things. And the reverse is also true. If you surround yourself with unconfident people who are not successful, or who are, have a victim mentality or something like that, it's really easy for us to fall down that path. So our environment, our proximity is so key to confidence. And then our internal environment as well, the things we tell ourselves and the beliefs that we have are all play a role in that confidence.
There was a Hidden Brain podcast episode I listened to several months ago. I'm talking about complaining, and that, complaining is something that we often like to do because it's a great way to build rapport with people. It does build community. Everybody gets around together and complains about things. But the problem with complaining is that it either keeps you in place or it can bring things further down. So one of the things that the expert on the episode was saying was, complaints and negative stuff, you acknowledge those things. They're real. Like, gratitude is not about denial, right? Like you acknowledge things that are problematic, but you don't live there. You move on to other things.
Yes, absolutely. Right. Complaining is really easy. So let's not do the easy thing. Let's do the hard. Let's work a little bit harder, right?
Right.
Anybody can complain. Anybody can gossip. But ultimately, our subconscious mind picks up on all of that, right? And those subconscious things that get stored in our subconscious mind start to become habits and beliefs, right? And become ingrained in us. And it's a way of living. I talked to a lady who is a founder of a confidence-based mobile application. So she's the founder of the company. And, for her, confidence was like an inherited trait, almost a lack of confidence, depression, complaining, negativity, right? She grew up watching her parents do it. So she did it and she adopted those traits. So it's also a cycle. And I talk about confidence being a cycle in my book as well. That, as children, we learn to mimic and adopt the behaviors of our parents. But what if what if their behaviors are unconfident? All of a sudden, we're going to start to go on our whole lives believing that's our reality too. So
Right.
it's really important.
It is. Well, everybody listen. The half hour, just like that. I mean, this is the way it goes when you've got a good topic. Tara, thank you so much. Tell us, what's the best way for everybody to get in touch with you?
Yep. So you can check out my book on Amazon. I'm always on LinkedIn. I am on here way too much. And you can also visit my website, taralafongooch.com.
All right. And the last thing we do every episode, I'm going to let you have the whole screen, everybody. I'm going to turn off the chat overlay, turn off myself. Tara, give us one last thought for us to hang on to, and then I'll come back in and we'll sign off.
Absolutely. Confidence is a state of mind, right? But it is something that can be developed with time. So if confidence is something that you are struggling with, you're not alone. Guess what? Most people struggle with it. But I want to share something with you today. On average, the average person doesn't really become confident and start to feel confident until they're in their 60s. And folks, that is just way too late to live your best life. So start this as soon as you can. Start this confidence journey as soon as you can. Don't wait. Don't waste your life, not a second longer. Start to become confident so that you can step into the person that you are always meant and designed to be. I do believe that every single person has so much potential untapped within them. And sometimes it just takes a coach or a mentor to help that person see what they're fully capable of and give them the steps and the tools to do it. Work with somebody that has been through it, has an understanding, so that you too can go to that next level and they can help you with that journey. But confidence is often that silent struggle that many people face and few admit to. So don't feel like you're alone at all in this. If you're not at the level of success that you want to be in life, confidence is probably the answer. So I encourage everybody that's watching this right now to grasp confidence and own your power, because honestly, everything you want is attainable in life. I hope that's empowering and inspiring enough. Nathan, you'll have to tell me, is that good?
I think it's good. It works for me. Everybody, start today. Don't wait. This is good stuff. Tara, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for sharing, what your journey has brought you to, because you have a lot to give us, to help us with our own struggles. Everybody who's been here in the comments, so good to see you. Thank you for popping in. I hope we will see you next Wednesday, and everybody have a great day. Thanks again, Tara.
Thank you. Bye, guys.